Room 21 Rockstar families, and welcome to our very first VODCAST of the 2015-2016 school year. I'm coming to you today right from Room 21, where the magic is happening daily. You know, Room 21 Rockstar families, I have to tell you, wow, your scholars are incredible. They have taken the Barrett Academy Constitution, they have taken our pledge to become a family in Room 21, and just absolutely lived it to the highest degree during the first 4 days of school. We have had so much fun getting to know one another, learning all the expectations of our classroom, and jumping right into the learning. It is going to be an incredible year, and it's such an honor to have you as a part of the 2015-2016 Room 21 Rockstar family. So every single Sunday, I will be sending out a VODCAST, a little something like this. You know, today's going to be kind of more of an orientation to the VODCAST with a few strategies, and then next week will be the full-out VODCAST so you can kind of see how it will be working. So, you know, the first thing that I typically do in each VODCAST is kind of just go over announcements, recognize some star students, and then I take you over to the strategy session. So today I did want to recognize our very first rock star of the week, Renee Jeffries. Renee absolutely came into Room 21 on a mission to be an amazing Barrett Academy scholar. You know, I think it was the first or second day of school, I was talking to the scholars about one of the lines of the Constitution concerning initiative. And she absolutely got up in the middle of class to go help someone who had dropped something without any reminders, anything. Absolutely just took that Constitution, had no fear, and went to it. I'm so incredibly proud of her, and that is why Renee is this week's Room 21 Rockstar of the Week. Congratulations, Renee. So, on Friday, you came home with the Big Friday folder, including the weekly newsletter, Mr. Reichert's Rockstar Reader. This comes home every Friday in the Friday folder. It has a ton of announcements on this side, all the different ways you can stay in touch with us. There's always a weekly calendar at the bottom, and then on the back you'll find an announcement of who is the Rockstar of the Week, what we'll be learning in the week ahead, and then this section here is typically telling you some concepts and things we learned in class, and then there's always a house point challenge down at the bottom where your scholar can answer those questions, bring them into class for 5 house points that go toward their house for Barrett Academy. And as always, there's always my contact information down here, my cell phone number, email, and our brand new class website, ReichertRockstars.weebly.com, which I'll show you a little later in our VODCAST today. So make sure you put this thing on your fridge every week. It comes home in the Friday folder. Just make sure you sign the little paper in the Friday folder and then have your scholar return it each Monday. Graded work, different announcements from the school will be coming home in the Friday folder each week. So be sure to ask your scholar about that every single Friday as it will be coming home. And that's a great way of communication for us to stay in touch and also for you to get all the graded work in one place. So a couple of other announcements for the week. First of all, most of you have signed up for Class Dojo already. Has been absolutely amazing. Let me actually grab my iPad real quick and kind of show you the app itself. You know, you can download the app on your phone, iPhone, Android. You can download it on an iPad or tablet, and you can also access it online. It's really cool, and obviously I have the student one, but you immediately get on. Let me go down to our class, and what's going to happen here, and I'm hoping that your scholar, and I know it's kind of hard to see, I apologize for that, guys. I'm hoping your scholar actually had a conversation with you about how stars and checks will be recorded in Class Dojo, but each day, if you look right over here at the behavior board, okay, your scholar will be putting stars and checks on that each day. Okay, and then at the end of each day, I will log the Class Dojo information into the actual app, and you'll be able to see it in real time, and I'll also include some notes and different happenings in our classroom. You know, if your scholar comes home with a check, that does not mean that they had a bad day. In fact, if they do not have anything for that day, that doesn't mean they had a bad day. That's just, you know, a reminder that they need to make sure they're implementing the Constitution on a daily basis. Everything in Class Dojo will start counting this week. So if your scholar does get 3 checks in 1 week, in the same day, during the week. They will miss their academy time on Friday, where we come together for a ton of team building and a ton of, just bonding as a family, a Barrett Academy family each Friday, okay? And the other app that you can sign up for is actually Remind, okay? If you actually text this code at 3BB92 to the number 571-402-1014. Again, that's text at 3BB, okay, as in boy, 92 to the number 571-402-1014. You will get updates as I text them out. You know, the cool thing about Remind is it doesn't give me your number, and you do not get my number either. It comes from this ghost number. And, you're not able to actually text back, but it's just a quick way for me to remind you about some happenings in the classroom. Maybe I'll be like, oh, make sure your Rockstar wears a Record Rockstar t-shirt tomorrow. Different things like that. So it's always great to sign up. 17 of you have already signed up on there. So, like I said, you guys are truly the best families in Stafford County. You're absolutely amazing. A couple of other quick announcements. Number one, we begin DARE with Deputy Scoggins from the Stafford County Sheriff's Department on Tuesday. She'll come into our classroom each week for the next 13 weeks from 9 o'clock to 9:50. Just ask your scholar what they're learning in DARE. She has a great program, and then we'll have our DARE graduation in December with a date coming very soon to you. Two other things I wanted to talk to you about. This week, I'm hoping tomorrow your scholar is going to come home with a permission form that looks a little something like this, and I'll make sure to put it on colored paper so it stands out to you. This is a permission form for your child to have an account on Google Classroom. This year in Room 21, we will be using Google Classroom a ton. And let me tell you, families, it is so safe. I used it with my classroom last year. Your scholar will receive a username and a login. Now, that username for Google can only be used within the school. They're not able to email back and forth friends or people outside of the school. The account is a Google Apps for Education account, so they made it specifically for schools. Your child has no access to email and things like that. It's so cool because your scholar will put all of their assignments on there. We'll be typing up papers and different things like that, and they can collaborate immediately with me and with their classmates, and they can get feedback from all of them simultaneously, or they could be working on a project simultaneously on Google Classroom. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. This form will explain everything to you. You will receive the username and password so you can get on and check it out if you'd like as well. I'm hoping to be able to get this on by Thursday or Friday, so please, please, please turn this in as soon as possible so that your scholar can get on to Google Classroom promptly. So that will be coming home this week. It's such an exciting thing going on in Room 21. I hope that you are able to allow your Rockstar to participate in the Google Classroom. And finally, right behind me is a giant ship. And this deals with our reading goal. I'm sure your scholar came home this week talking about the 40 Book Goal Challenge bucket list that we have going on this year in Room 21. So basically the objective, guys, is for your scholar to be reading. I do not regulate what they're reading. I just want them to read. And the 40 books is a lofty goal, but highly attainable. In order for your scholar to become a better reader, the only thing they have to do is honestly read and read and read. Homework every night consists of 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes of reading and practicing math facts, okay? If those two things can be done, I can assure you that everything else will be accomplished in our classroom on a daily basis, and your Rockstar will go to middle school as a leader in their classroom. So with the 40 book goal, basically what happens is they each have a canister back there, if you see those silver canisters, and they'll be putting Legos in there to record each book based on genre. We have a pretty expansive library, as you can see in our classroom, but scholars are also able to go to the library and check books out, and also, I told them they can ask me if they don't see a book that they really like back there, and I'll be sure to order it with the book order. Now, in there, and just wait one second, I'm going to move you over here, in their binder that comes home every single night, we have put a folder for the reading bucket list. Okay, it should look a little something like this. Okay, it might be a different color, but they have their name out on front. And then a couple things inside that you're going to see is, I developed the bucket list this year to really get your scholars to be reading a variety of genres across a number of different texts. So if you look at it, I want them to read at least one thing in each of these 35 areas, okay? And that goes towards their 40-book goal, obviously. You know, if they're reading these, even a cookbook or an advertisement helps to grow that comprehension at home and makes them a deeper reader. You know, and then what they're going to do is they're going to record them on this sheet, okay? And then I have created pirate-themed levels that they will attain #reader status as they go along. So, you know, level 1 is Davy Jones's locker. Okay, you have reached the imaginary place at the bottom of the ocean that holds the lost sailors and pirates, and that's if you've read 1 to 5 books, and they'll progress through. You know, I told the scholars I'm not a big person into having tangible rewards for things. We really work to just want to do it intrinsically inside of us. But there may be surprise trips, surprise rewards as scholars advance. I told them as long as they're reading about 10 books per quarter, there are 4 quarters in the year, then they're on pace to reach that 40-book goal. You know, my expectations for them this year are way through the ceiling. And with guidance and support from me and my belief in them, they can attain that. And they're going to go to middle school as absolutely exceptional leaders. So, as always, if you have any questions, comments, and concerns, you can always email me, call me, come in to see me at school. You can always visit our classroom if you'd like and see how we do it in room 21. But at this point in the VODCAST each week, what I do is I actually send you over to a screenshot with just me talking with a ton of strategies that your scholar can do at home related to the curriculum in class this week. Okay, so this week we're talking about finding the main idea of fiction and nonfiction text and reading. We're working on rounding and addition and subtraction whole number problem solving with a ton of different strategies there. Okay, and also decimal place value. We're talking about the scientific investigation in science. And then in writing, we're working on spicing up our vocab in our writing and making our writing absolutely jump off the page with sizzling vocab words. So those are the topics we're talking about. So what will happen is I'll actually have a bunch of strategies to support those topics at home. If your scholar completes them, I talk throughout the VODCAST about how they can earn a number of house points. Okay, and so you'll see that as you watch the VODCAST today. I will see you guys on the other end. I hope you enjoy the strategy session this week. Okay, Room 21 Rockstar families, here you will find our home page, and I want to tell you a couple of different ways in which you can get to our class website this year. The first one would be, you know, if you start off on the Stafford County Public Schools website, stafford.schoolfusion.us, and you go to District Links, Elementary Schools, click on Kate Waller Barrett, and then you're going to click on Best Classes up here in the right corner, and then 5th grade, Mr. Reichard's Rockstars, and then all you're going to do is click that big old picture. Click it, and it's going to take you right to our website. So this is our new website this year. The reason that we have this outside site is because all that we'll be doing with our blogs, our Weebly accounts, and Google Classroom. This is just going to be able to handle all of that web traffic a lot better, and it's going to be a lot user-friendly for the rock stars as they're exploring technology in the classroom. So I want to show you around our website a little bit and show you what you can explore and discover. You know, all of the different social media tools that we use in class, our Twitter page, our YouTube channel, the Barrett Academy Facebook page, our Instagram account, and Class Dojo. You can click on any of these logos and you'll go directly to those pages if you simply click those pictures. Every single Sunday, the weekly VODCAST, which you are watching right now, has a link. All you have to do is click this image right here, and you'll be taken to our YouTube page where that's happening. Right here we have what's happening in Room 21 for the week in each subject area, math, reading, writing, and science this week. And you can kind of see what we're up to working hard in Room 21. And then finally at the bottom of the page, we are going to have the Academy House standings. Right now, I simply just have the house logos, but these will actually be in order from first place at the top to fourth place at the bottom with the point totals there. So that will actually be updated next weekend after we have our first round of house points put into the system. And finally, you can see a live feed of our Twitter account right here on the right-hand side of the page. So that's the home page. A couple other areas you might want to check out on our website. First of all, we have our About section. You know, you can read about the history of Room 21, And then we have a Parents tab, and the Parents tab is really cool because there's a few things that I'll be updating on there this year just for you. First of all, we'll have our photo journal. I'll put pictures up there from each week that you can check out to see what we're doing in the classroom. We're going to have a calendar. Right now I do not have it updated. I'll be doing that later today, but you can kind of see what's happening in Barrett with the PTO and different events like that. There's an outside link to Class Dojo. We have a link to our daily class schedule if you want to come in for lunch or see what special we have for the day. That is there. A link to our weekly newsletters is right here. Our first newsletter of the year is up and ready to rock and roll. That's a newsletter that actually came home in the Friday folder. And then finally, you have a link to our class YouTube account or the Academy Facebook page if you'd like to follow us there. So a ton of different resources for you to explore and discover at home. And then the cool part is, and this is what the strategy session is really going to be about every week, would be under the VODCAST section. I have applicable strategies for your scholar to use at home every single week. And so this week is no different. I have a ton of strategies for us to get ready to rock and roll with. So let's check them out right now. So in math this week, we'll be reviewing the rounding of decimals, but our major focus will be on whole number problem solving. We have a week-long competition for the scholars to participate in. It's going to be so awesome. But I do have a couple of resources that you can check out in the meantime to earn some house points at home, Room 21 Rockstar. So here we go. So if you would like to practice rounding decimals, you know, most of you are solid with that, but you can click the link and head to this site, and then basically on this site, you're just practicing the basic rounding of numbers. Here you're rounding to the nearest whole number. You might round to the nearest 10th or 100th or 1000th. Not too much rounding of whole numbers, mostly rounding of decimals. But what you do here is you simply, you know, if I'm rounding this to the nearest whole number, I'm going to draw my number line. So you have to put your work down on something, a sheet of paper, the back of a pizza box, something at home. Show me your work. So I'm rounding 4.4 and 86 hundredths to the nearest whole number. So here, first I'm going to underline what I'm rounding to. That's a 4. So on the left of the number line, I'm going to make a 4. And on the right of the number line, I'm going to make a 5. And then in the middle of the number line, what would that be, guys? Yeah, that would be 4 and 5 tenths. And then I'm going to plot 4 and 86 hundredths on the number line, which would be right about here. And if I do my rounding correctly, it looks like that is going to round to 5. So I would put 5 in the box, hit submit, got that one right. So all that I'm asking you to do, you can earn a house point for each of these that you complete at home. Simply show me your work on a sheet of paper, enter your answer, bring in that sheet of paper, and I'll give you a house point for each of those that you solve. It's very important that you show your work and bring that into me, guys, because that is that effective effort that we talked about last week. You have to go the extra mile to earn those house points, and that's what it's all about. And then finally, there's another page just like that on whole number problem solving. This week we'll only be working on addition and subtraction of problem solving. Same deal, solve the problem, write it down on paper, bring in your work, a house point per problem. A good way to get your house to be in the lead at the beginning of the year, guys, because last year, it came down to a single point. So every single point counts. That extra effort is so incredibly important. And then, Rockstars, if you want to check in on the videos concerning the math topics we talk about in class, simply click the Flip Classroom site. We'll be doing a lot of this in class, but the cool thing is I have all the topics here. So topic 1 is decimal place value, and topic 2 is rounding, those two things we talked about last week. And then finally, topic 4, whole number computation, is what we'll be doing this week. If you click those tabs, that will take you to videos outside of the website that I have created that will help you to master the content even better. So for math, you have ways to earn 1 house point each right there. And then I have this page that I created for you guys to practice even a little more. If you round each of these numbers to the nearest 10th and 100th, and I want to hear you chanting those numbers and reading them without the point, read them with the and. So for instance, the first one would be 123 and 453 thousandths. Round that, show me your number line. Don't have to use a number line as long as you're accurate. And bring that work in. You can get a house point for each of these. And then this is a challenge question. Remember in class I said it is our goal to be able to round numbers like this. Okay, so the problem states Mr. Riker is watching his Pittsburgh Pirates over the weekend. One of his favorite players, Andrew McCutcheon, hit a home run ball that flew 423 4/10 of a yard. Which of the following numbers below would round to 423 432 and 4/10 of a yard. You have to go number by number and figure out which of these numbers would round to 432 and 4/10 in some way, shape, or form. I'm not going to tell you how many correct answers there are, but I'll give you 5 house points if you show me your work and bring that in, because that's a challenging question, and that is the level of challenge that we want to see in 5th grade, guys. So that is your ultimate goal this week, like I said last week in class. So that's all the math I have for you. Okay, and the other thing I forgot to tell you about the VODCAST strategies is you can do these at any time during the week, the whole way up until next Sunday, and earn those house points. So you do not have to do them Sunday night, if you're watching this today, and bring them in on Monday. They can be brought in any day of the week. You know, if you get done with your morning work early, go back and grab a Chromebook, get on, check out the VODCAST, and get some house points as well. So in reading this week, guys, we're going to get into our guided reading stations finally, but we're also working on figuring out the main idea of text. So I have 2 ways that you can do that at home. First of all, this video right here just kind of introduces main idea to you. It's a great video to watch to just kind of get used to main idea. And then finally, this chicken tennis video, what I want you to do is watch it, figure out the main idea, write it down, bringing in 5 house points as well. That'll kind of start to cement your understanding of main idea. Remember, we want the main idea to be concise and kind of short. We do not want a big old lengthy main idea or just a retelling of the story. We kind of want that in a sentence or 2. In writing this week, we are going to be adding sizzling vocab to our writing. I thought this picture was absolutely cool. Just go ahead and tell the story. Okay, and you're going to find out tomorrow and Tuesday how to add sizzling vocab to your writing, but just try to tell the story and, you know, take those words such as good and bad and change them, switch them out with something else that's a little more exciting. Every week we have the writing fix of the week, which is what this is, bringing in 5 house points, and I may ask you to share your story in front of the class as well. And then finally, science this week. As you know, you guys are starting the diaper lab tomorrow, and then you'll have your performance assessment on Thursday and Friday where you are going to be totally by yourself designing a scientific investigation and performing it as your final grade in science investigation before we get on to oceans next week. So, last week in class, we talked about the difference between observations and inferences. Okay, observations are measurements, a record of what is seen, heard, smelled, felt, or tasted, which are the 5 senses, or facts. Okay, those are observations. All these items right here are observations. And then finally on the right, we have inferences. Things that you kind of can make an explanation for with an observation, but you cannot totally prove yet. Kind of have to have some background knowledge, okay? So what I want you to do, and you can earn 2 house points for each of the pictures that you complete here. I put down a ton of different pictures, okay? You can choose 1 or choose them all. You can get 2 for each. Write down some observations and inferences for each. So on your work page, just bring it in with a T-chart. On one side, put O. On the other side, put I. Write down some observations for that picture. Write down some inferences for that picture. Bring it in. I tried to choose some pretty funny pictures for you guys to look at as well to practice those inquiry skills in science. And remember, if you memorize our scientific investigation song by tomorrow, you get yourself 30 house points, rock stars. So make sure you get that down. All throughout the VODCAST this year, I will have times when I give you a secret hashtag, and all you have to do is write that hashtag down, bring it in, and you can get 5 house points. This is the moment in our VODCAST today where I have that secret hashtag. That secret hashtag this week is hashtag what diaper will hold the most. Okay, and that will go along with our science lab. Hashtag what diaper will hold the most. When you come in, though, and you share that hashtag with me, you need to make sure you have a little bit of passion whenever you're saying it. Okay, and you have to also make sure that you do not tell folks who have not yet watched the VODCAST what the secret hashtag is, because it could be anywhere in the VODCAST during the week. So, that is what I had to share with you guys on our VODCAST. It was a little more lengthy this week, but it's really important that you kind of get an idea of what our website looks like and also check out the different components that you can complete each week. Remember, our website is ReichardRockstars.weebly.com. All you have to do is visit this site right here that I'm highlighting on the screen, and it'll take you right there, or you can go through the Kate Waller-Barrett website as well. Now I'm going to send you back over to Mr. Reichard. Okay, Room 21 Rockstar families, I hope that you enjoyed this week's VODCAST. It was a little longer than the typical VODCAST will be, but I really wanted you to become acquainted with all the different aspects of strategies, of resources that I have available for you in Room 21. As always, you can feel free to contact me through email, call me at school, call me on my cell phone, send in a note. I am here for you guys. Your scholars are absolutely amazing because you guys are the absolute best families in Stafford County, and I will see you for next week's VODCAST.